Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I've got Hoops. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Overall, I've been doing good, just holding through and same old life routine, working a good amount, and yeah, just getting through. How's everything going with you?
I'm surviving so far. I just started my first day of class yesterday. Today was the second day. It's been long. It's been a couple of long days. I have so many readings and assignments I've got to do that I am not excited for. I'm already like overwhelmed, but I'll just try my best. So I made it this far, so might as well keep going and you know try to survive this semester. But other than that, it was cool being with my classmates again. Today I had like a 5 hour gap between classes, and like where we went, right? So like the amount of miles and traffic it takes to get there and back. There was no way I was gonna do that between the gaps, so I ended up staying at on campus for like those 5 hours with my friend, and we did like everything but our schoolwork. It was not productive at all, but it was a interesting time for sure. So yeah, that's basically it for me. Just busy, got a lot of homework to do. But yeah, I'll try to relax, especially um, with these games. We've had some great games as of late, so uh, yeah. We won't be talking about those great games because today we're actually gonna do a little, slightly different from usual. Oh, I say that, but like we do this every year. We're making our All Star predictions. That's what we're doing right now. I don't know if we usually only predict the reserves or the entire lineup, but this past week they announced the NBA All Star starters. So that because of that, it got me thinking about wanting to predict the rest of the lineup. So that's what we're gonna do in this episode. Um, and not gonna lie, like it was hard predicting in the West and the East, but for like totally different reasons. I don't know if you had a similar issue with your predictions.
I think it was definitely some tricky picks for sure. Certain positions and I think both conferences definitely had like certain players that could have made it or could barely get cut. So it was definitely a little bit tricky.
It was tricky. So we're gonna make our predictions, but I guess we should start off by actually going over the official NBA All Star starters for both the West Coast and East Coast. Um, I guess I'll start with the West. In the West, we've got Stephen Curry, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, and Victor Wembanyama. So 3 point guards and two centers are the starting lineup for the Western All Star lineup. I guess I don't know. You could clearly tell it's been a long day. I'm just blabbing along, but yeah, hoops who are in the Eastern uh, All Star starting lineup.
Eastern starting lineup, we have Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brown, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. So as we see here, not a lot of size, a lot of guards in the starting lineup for the East.
Yeah, it has I guess officially became positionless. I don't know if they started that this year. I'm sure they started it like the year before, but it's somehow you know they chose like by position in a way. But this year, it's obvious that it is positionless, which is interesting. Do you have like any gripes with either starting lineups? Like, Are there any shocks for you? Because I do have one shock, one like snub, I guess, for an All Star starting spot.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a little bit of a shock for sure. And I think what came to shock me a little bit in the Western Conference was the fact that Steph was selected in the starting lineup over Anthony Edwards. Because I honestly thought that Ant was for sure going to be in the starting lineup, for sure. And obviously, Steph is still really great. As we know, he is, but this season, I feel like Ant definitely deserved a nod over him there. I know that some people might be a little bit shocked about LeBron for once not being in the starting lineup. And obviously, like, valid point. I mean, like, it's a popularity contest. So, of course, the big names are going to get, like, the votes to get that starting nod. If we're talking about like playing performance, obviously it wouldn't be shocking because we know LeBron is started the year slow and you name it. But if you're talking about like based on popularity vote, I guess that could be a little bit of a shock. But overall, I would say the only real shock was Steph being in the starting lineup than Ant, I think. Um, Anything that really stood out to you though, per se, or
Same thing. It's Steph being picked over, and I know Steph is like averaging like almost 30 points per game, which is like impressive at his age. But Ant, do believe is still the better player. You know, at this moment, obviously, I'm not talking about all time. At this moment, I think Ant is the better player. He has the better team. Um, so yeah, I feel like he should have been in over Steph. And yeah, in regards to the LeBron conversation, it makes sense. Like, unfortunately, his streak is over. What was it, like 20 years as a starter? That streak finally came to an end, but you know, he didn't. He's not playing as well as any of these five players. So it honestly makes a lot of sense that he is not a starter. Um, but yeah, looking at the East, I feel like the East is solid. I feel like every player in the starting lineup for the East deserves to be there. Um, yeah, I don't have any
yeah, I
issues with
agree.
that.
Yeah, I think Eastern Conference is pretty well selected for the most part. No issues there.
Yeah. So I guess we could just reveal our predictions, maybe starting with the West Coast, the best coast. And, you know, we'll just reveal who we believe should be in the reserves.
Yeah,
Um,
let's go ahead and do just that.
So for me, the Western Conference was hard to predict just because I felt like there's a lot of players that deserve to be all stars that uh, I ended up not putting on my list. And it seems like we've got basically the same list except for one player.
Except for one, yeah.
Yeah, which you have one of my honorable mentions, so I'm definitely not mad at your list or surprised. Would you like to
Okay.
read off your list?
Yeah, so for my Western Conference reserves predictions, I got Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün, Jamal Murray, Chet Holmgren, and Kawhi Leonard.
And for me, I've got Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Edwards. I said that weird. Alperen Şengün, Jamal Murray, LeBron James, and I have Devin Booker. So the difference between our list is that you have Chet Holmgren, I do not, and I have Devin Booker, you do not. Chet Holmgren was definitely one of my honorable mentions. You know, he is currently the second best player for the Thunder. You know, last year was J Dub. This year is Chet. J Dub, you know, was injured earlier this year and doesn't really look the same like last year. So I think Chet at the moment is the second best player on the best team in the league. So I definitely see an argument on why he should be in the All Star game. I did give it to Devin Booker. Um, First of all, he's a better player. Like straight up, he's a better player than Chet. He's the number one guy on his team, and although his team isn't that good when you compare it to the Thunder, it's still really good. And they like turn it around from last year. Last year was a disaster. The year before that was pretty bad. They turned it around this year, so I feel like Devin Booker should be in the All Star game. But it was a hard decision. I was honestly debating him, Chet Holmgren, and Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves was one of my guys that I really wanted to put him in, especially with my Lakers bias, but I couldn't do it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think you make a lot of fair points because Devin Booker was one of my tough cuts that I had to make. Ultimately, actually, the two players that I were deciding between was Devin Booker and Kawhi Leonard. Ultimately, I picked Kawhi because I just feel like he has been on such a tear this last months or so that couldn't leave him off. Um, and Devin Booker was definitely a very like big honorable mention for me because he has been having a great year and his team is obviously doing a lot better than last year, and him being a huge reason why, I think definitely very worthy there for sure. Um, but ultimately, yeah, Kawhi I picked for that reason. And then I guess just to say, picking Chet over Devin, for example, ultimately I picked Chet Holmgren because as you said, he is the clear cut number two option on the best team in the league. Um, when you have a guy like SGA who is leading the league by storm in the um, debate of possibly best player in the league, and then very likely the leader of the MVP ladder, and you still have a guy like Chet as a number two option that's averaging a pretty solid 18 points, 8.4 rebounds, 1.6 assists, shooting 58% from the field. I think that's pretty worthy of getting the All Star nod. Um, Now, if you were to make the debate about like who's the better player between Devin Booker and Chet Holmgren straight up, I could definitely see the argument for Devin Booker being the better player there for sure. Ultimately, I just went with Chet mostly because I feel like I guess situational fitting in was one of the top players in the league, and yet still have a huge presence. Hard to uh, be missed there. And I guess another, I guess another reason is because the West has a good amount of like the guards in the lineup, so to try to even out with a little bit of size. I know that it's kind of positionless, but kind of just nitpicking at this point.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask right now.
So those would be the main reasons. What's up?
Sorry, I was just wondering, like, did you put a lot of thought at all with position? Because like now thinking about it, like I didn't really think about positions at all. Even though I feel like that's normally what I would do. This year I just chose who I thought deserved it
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, believe it or not, I didn't really think about the positions that much, but definitely a little bit for sure. Ultimately speaking, I c- I primarily went with who are the best players. Um, but yeah, those would be mainly my take on, I guess, the guys who I had barely selected on the cusp, shall I say. Um, I
Huh?
guess would you like to say anything, or should I just continue the rest of my list and you go over the rest of your list?
Um, you kind of talked about Kawhi. I just want to say one thing about him. I think another big reason why he should make the list. Like I know he like almost was cut, but I feel like the biggest reason why he definitely deserved to be in the All Star game, other than his play, is the fact that this is going to be held in LA in the Intuit Dome. So it would be weird if like the Clippers didn't have some kind of representation. Um, so with Kawhi having this tear, as you mentioned, as of late, it was like basically perfect timing. So not only will the Clippers have representation, but like it was well earned as well. Like it wasn't like a gimme. Kawhi earned this All Star spot for sure. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Kawhi. You can go through the rest of your list.
All right, so yeah, I'll continue my take on why I picked my reserves. Um, I guess I'll start from the bottom to the top. So Jamal Murray is having arguably the best season of his career so far, and he is for sure very worthy of being an all-star. 26 points, 4.4 rebounds, 7.4 assists, and shooting 49% from the field. Um, Obviously, with Jokic injured is the last month, Jamal needed to step up even more with his absence, and that he has certainly been doing so. Um, as we already stated his stats just now. We all know that Jamal Murray can turn it on, especially in the playoffs. He'll put up 30 bombs, 40 bombs, even 50 bombs. Um, on the contrary, sometimes he might possibly disappear out of nowhere when you don't want him to. Um, but this season, that has not been the case too very often because he has been doing nothing but great things for the Nuggets. And that is why I think he is super worthy of being an all-star selection. So the next player here on the list I have is Alperen Şengün. So Şengün, he obviously made the list last year. I mean, made the All-Star last year. This year, I expect him to do it again. He is averaging 22 points, 9.3 rebounds, 6.4 assists on 51% field goal percentage. Last year, he was easily the number one option on the Rockets. This year, obviously, with KD taking over, he had to take a little bit of a step back. And even doing so, he has still been very great. So he is for sure worthy of being a all-star again. And I guess it's safe to say that he has now evolved into Charmeleon, while Sabonis has downgraded to Charmander. Because one guy is making the all-star and one guy isn't. It's sad. Not to say Sabonis isn't good anymore, but I think Şengün has leveled up officially. And so now I will bring up the next player, which is his teammate, the aforementioned Kevin Durant. He is 37 years old, but still putting up great numbers. He is averaging 26 points, 5.4 rebounds, 4.6 assists, shooting 51% from the field. Pretty good for a point forward to shoots that many jump shots. And yeah, obviously last year on the Suns, he was good individually, team was horrible. He gets a fresh start now as the Rockets, and once again is on a contending team. So good for KD, and for his sake, he is definitely going to be an all-star selection once again. No brainer. And so that brings me the two final players that I selected as my Western Conference reserves. Um, LeBron James, which obviously we mentioned time and time again, has been having a down year, started the season slow, but recently he's been coming back around. Now his season average is 22.5 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, shooting 51% from the field. Um, After a pretty slow start, he has gotten it together lately, looking more like LeBron, as we know. Um, and yeah, I guess we already mentioned earlier, some people are potentially shocked that he didn't make the starting role because of his popularity, but knowing his performance, it's understandable. Nonetheless, still worthy of being an all star selection. So, shout out to LeBron, still running strong, even at 41 years old now. And so now, the last player who I've selected in the reserves, who I personally think got robbed of being a Western Conference starter, is Anthony Edwards. Um, Averaging a whopping 30 points, 5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, shooting 50% from the field. Ant has been doing great this year and continuing to level up his very good, young, promising career, still only 24 years old. And I expect him to keep on climbing up. And yeah, it was definitely very shocking that he did not get selected as a starter and unfortunate, but this should be looked at as motivation for him to keep on proving the doubters wrong. Um, so yeah, shout out to Ant. And that being said, those would be my Western Conference reserves.
All right, well said, well said. Again, so our lists are very similar. So I don't really have notes for you. And you explained pretty well why you have Chet over like a Devin Booker. So I guess I could briefly go over my list, but like again, our lists are so similar. So uh, yeah, I'll speed through it. Starting with Kevin Durant, you know, this guy is an automatic bucket. He's been that since been in the league. It's hard for me to imagine him ever stopping. Um, yeah, he's been doing great with the Rockets. They are one of the best teams in the West. Could be contenders, we'll see. But yeah, you know, we've talked about him and like his longevity. It's been insane. So yeah, shout out to Durant. He's having a great season. And to me, he's the best player on the Rockets. You know, some people would say Şengün. I think it is Durant. But shout out to Şengün. He deserves a spot as well. Such an odd player. Like the way he is on offense is very like quirky and unique. I don't know. His like move sets are interesting, but yeah, he is a phenomenal big man who is great at passing the ball. He's having a great season alongside Durant. They are such a great like offensive duo. So he deserves to be here. Anthony Edwards deserves to be a starter in my opinion, but he will be in the reserves. He definitely deserves to be an all-star this year. Um, you know, he is insane on like every part of the floor, whether it's driving to the basket, mid range, 3 point shooting, the defensive end as well. He is pretty decent, so shout out to him. Uh, I already mentioned Kawhi, but you know, shout out to him. He's been having such a great like last like yeah few weeks, months even. Helped turn around the Clippers season. We'll see if they end up making the playoffs. Jamal Murray, as you said, having his best season yet. He's finally going to make an All Star team. For the longest time, he was like the best player to never make an All Star team. He will make it this year. I think it also helps that Nikola Jokic is currently injured, so we get to see him as the number one guy a lot more. So that definitely helps his case. So yeah, he like has to be an All Star this year. It'd be crazy if he isn't. LeBron James is LeBron James, so I don't think I need to say anymore. He deserves to be an All Star just for existing. And then Devin Booker, I already talked about him and how great the Suns have been this year, even though, a lot of us didn't expect them to be that good. But they're killing it at the moment. So, yeah, those are the All Star reserves that I chose. Let us know if our predictions are good or not. Um, are there any other like honorable mentions you have in mind? Like, I just thought of Julius Randle when I was talking about Anthony Edwards. Laurie Markkinen is averaging like near 30. He's on a very shitty team, but he's a bucket. So those are some other names I kind of just thought of. Any more for you?
I think the guys you listed are definitely good, worthy honorable mentions. Um, I think that another honorable mention that you don't necessarily think of, but have been like shockingly really good this year, Danny Avdia, crazy breakout year. Like, would he be selected to All Star? Probably not. But has he been like vastly improved this year? Definitely. So I think he would be a honorable mention.
I guess. It would be him and the refs though, so he could get his fouls in. Get on the line more often. That's how he gets like most of his points. Uh,
I don't really watch him play, honestly.
he's
So
worse than
I
Shea.
did see that one. I did see that one clip that Tari Eason basically said the same thing you did, though. They're like, "What makes guarding Danny Avdia so hard? Zebras."
Yup. So if he gets selected, a ref has to come with him. It's a package deal.
Imagine if he got selected. That would actually be like pretty laughable.
I
Not
will
gonna
not
lie.
watch the All Star game this year if he was selected. He was fifth in voting this year over LeBron, over Durant. Like,
That's actually very. That's actually pretty damn crazy, knowing that like Portland doesn't really have like that huge of a following outside
yeah,
of their own
it's
state.
got to be
Maybe it's
bots.
just yeah, or maybe it's his like his nationality voting. I don't know. But
Maybe I could see
yeah,
that
that
being
is
the
very
case.
crazy though. Fifth in All Star
Like, that's
voting.
so undeserving. Like that's
Yeah, if he got selected, good luck to viewership. That's all I can
Yeah, I
say.
straight up not watch. Like I always force myself to watch the All Star game every year. I'm usually the one that covers it. You don't even watch it. I have to watch it for the podcast, and then I
Yeah.
go over the All Star game. I had to sit through last year's. That was a shit show. So if Denny somehow makes it, I'm not. There's no All Star podcast this year. Like you're not making
Yeah.
me watch it.
Fair enough. All right. So yeah, I think it's mostly those guys, and then I Austin Reeves, if he didn't get hurt, I think he would have been very early.
Yeah,
But to be due to the number of games he missed, unfortunately, it's just not realistic anymore.
yeah, he would have been a shoe in, but
Yeah. I guess the question is if he would have made it, who would we take out from the lineup? That would be kind of tricky, right? Um,
Devin Booker for me.
you think so? Um, I think maybe either Chet or probably Chet. But the thing is, like, the only thing that had me putting Kawhi on the edge is because he also missed a lot of games. Because of his performance. Because this is his performance. Obviously, we know how great he's been playing. Um, so yeah, it's a little bit tricky there. I think if we're talking talent wise, I would say take out Chet. If we're talking availability wise, it would have maybe been Kawhi. But I guess the hypotheticals are for another day now.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, those would be the honorable mentions I have. Any others for you, or you already listed them all?
I think that's it. That's all I could scrape. Keontae George, maybe he's been having a good season with the Jazz. Uh, he'll be an All Star eventually. He will. He's
I think
very
it'll
young.
get there for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, let's give our predictions for the East now. Let's give the East a turn. Now, for the East, I have like the opposite issue. I felt like there was so many All Stars that like maybe shouldn't even be in the conversation, but like due to the amount of injuries and stuff, I just threw them in there because I need names. Uh, so yeah, we have reviewed them, and our lists are pretty close. Same with the Western team. We have one name,
Yeah, just one difference.
one difference. You want to read
Yeah.
your list?
Um, yeah. So for my Eastern Conference reserves, I have Donovan Mitchell, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duran, um, Karl-Anthony Towns, Norman Powell, and Pascal Siakam.
And for me, I've got Scotty Barnes, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duran, Karl-Anthony Towns, Paolo Banchero, and Norman Powell. So yeah, the only difference between our lists, you have Pascal Siakam, I have Paolo Banchero. Um, I think Siakam is the better player at the moment, but the Pacers aren't they the worst team in the East? Like,
Record wise, yes.
yeah, like their record
I
is
think they
horrible.
have the worst record in the league still.
Ooh, okay, so that's why I didn't have Pascal Siakam. That's also the reason why I don't have what's his name, Michael Porter Jr. He's killing it with the Nets, but I'm not giving him an All Star spot because he's killing it on the Nets, who suck. You know, um, I would say Siakam probably deserves it more than Michael Porter Jr. because he is a proven All Star, but still, that's why I don't have either of them on my list. So like the last two names I added were Paolo Banchero and Norman Powell. Uh, I wasn't like super confident with those names, but like with Jason Tatum being injured, with Tyrese Halliburton being injured, Joel Embiid haven't has not been the same. We're lacking a lot of names here, so I had to throw someone on the list. So I ended up putting Paulo and Norman Powell. I was rooting for Norman Powell last year, and he's having a great season this year. So hopefully he does make the All Star game this year. That'd be neat. Um, and yeah, I know you have like a thing at the moment against Paulo. Like, you have not been a fan of his play as of late, which I understand. He has not been as great as last year. So is that why he didn't make your list or your reserves?
Absolutely, yes. Um, Look, I am not a hater of Paulo Banchero by any means. I am actually a fan of his. But this season, I just feel like he hasn't been the same player as he was last year, for example. And that being said, like it's just not enough for me. I still think he's a good player, but I think that he should be doing better than what he has been this year. So that was the main reason why I decided to go as Pascal instead. And similar to you, the last two players I had barely making it, Norman Powell and Pascal Siakam. So yeah, safe to say that all these other players are for the most part pretty much locks. And then those last two we named were more of like uncertain guys. Um, but yeah, I guess without further ado, I can just dive into my list now.
Go for it.
Um, so Pascal Siakam, yeah, he's been playing for the worst team in the league so far, record wise. But as you said, at the same time, he is proven. He has been really good in this league for a long time. And none other than doing the same thing this year. Averaging 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 48% from the field. Um, One could say that maybe he's just doing that because of the absence of Tyrese Halliburton. Might be true, but then again, last year we saw how great he was for the Pacers in the playoffs and the finals. So the point being is Pascal Siakam's abilities being proven. I think that definitely his stats is no fluke. That's for sure. Next player I have, Norman Powell. As you said, both of us thought that he should have been selected last year. Unfortunately, he was the odd man out. I think he has a good argument of potentially making it this year. Averaging 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 49% from the field. Not too shabby. And the fact that the Clippers just gave him up for John Collins was definitely not a good move. And now the Clippers are basically like they've been doing good recently, but what's the type of player they're missing? They're missing a Norman Powell. I wonder why. What led to that?
If only they had a Norman Powell on their team.
I know, right? And you know what's funny is like I remember there were players that were trying to praise the Clippers. They're like, "Oh, Norman Powell just had a great season for the Clippers, and they were still not scared to trade him." Like, what the hell are you talking about? Why would you trade him after how good the season he had?
Who did they get after that trade? I
John
forgot.
Collins,
John
and
Collins.
I think they might have gotten something else, maybe, but I don't remember what.
And how's that going for them? How is John Collins doing? I heard nothing from him.
I heard nothing. I think very inconsistent. But yeah, shout out to Norm. Hopefully this year he gets selected. And so
13.3 points this year. Last year was 19 for John Collins.
yeah, John Collins was pretty good with the Jazz last year. His dip on the Clippers, I would say, is to be expected, knowing that he goes from I don't even know what option he was on the Jazz, but now like a way lower option than that. So yeah, it was to be expected, but nonetheless, like still a horrible move. Like Norm is miles better than this guy. Anyways, that would be the main reason why I picked Norm. The next player on my list is Cat. Um so I think there's definitely the argument that this year he might have taken a little bit of a step back. That being said, I still think he's having a pretty solid year for the Knicks. Still averaging 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 47% from the field. Not too bad. And yeah, if the Knicks are trying to make a deep run in the playoffs, clearly they will need Cat to show up big. So hopefully they that can be the case and the Knicks can get over the hump. So yeah, next player I have on the list is Jalen Duren, having a breakout season with the Pistons. He had always shown a good amount of potential throughout his career, but he never really, I guess, met the full expectation from when he was drafted until this year. He averaged 18 points, 11 rebounds, 1.8 assists, shooting 63% from the field so far this year. And he is one of the huge reasons why the Pistons are currently leading the Eastern Conference with a very good record of what was the Pistons record? 32-10. Not too bad. So yeah, Jalen Duren deserving of being an all-star. Next player, another Jalen Johnson from the Hawks. So obviously, we all know that Trae Young hasn't has been out since who knows, and now he's not even in Atlanta anymore. That being said, that gave Jalen Johnson the opportunity to shine, and he has been doing nothing but that. Um, doing really great this season, and pretty much an all-star lock, if you ask me, averaging 23 points, 10.3 rebounds, 8 assists, shooting 51% from the field. Now the clear-cut number one option on the Hawks, and they will be leading. He will be the guy leading the franchise forward from here on out, barring a trade for a superstar. So shout out to Jalen Johnson for his breakout season and years of greatness coming for a team that's currently looking like they're in the rebuild direction. Um, Next player I have on the list, Scotty Barnes. So Scotty Barnes has been having a pretty solid season this year, averaging 20 points, 8.2 rebounds, 5.6 assists, shooting 50% from the field. Um, I think that one of the things about the Raptors this year is obviously recently they've been a little bit inconsistent, but these last few games they've been looking good again, starting to win once again, and they are currently still sitting at the fourth seed in the Eastern Conference with a 8 games above 500 right now. Huge reason why is because of Scotty Barnes' great play, and without him, who knows where this team would be right now. So definitely all-star worthy selection for Scotty Barnes. And that leads us to the last player I have in my Eastern reserves list, Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell, another solid season after a solid one last year. He is averaging 29 points, 4.8 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and 48% shooting from the field. Cavs, as we all mentioned time and time again, have been super inconsistent. It's been frustrating to watch, but Donovan Mitchell has not been. He has been everything, including consistent. So yeah, shout out to Spida, and that would be my Eastern Conference reserves list.
Good list. Good list. Great takes.
Thank you.
Yeah, our list is basically the same. So just like the Western Conference starters, I will go over mine rather quickly since he did a good job covering it. I'll start with Scotty Barnes, who is the best player on the Raptors for sure. But shout out to Brandon Ingram. I guess he could be one of the honorable mentions. He had a hot start this year, kind of cooled off, but still, he's been a great scoring option for the Raptors. But yeah, Scotty Barnes does like a bit of everything. You know, he is a very versatile player. Can do whatever the team needs him to do in order to win the game. And he is an incredible defender, debatably the best defender in the East. So, shout out to Scotty Barnes. Donovan Mitchell was a lock for me. It was an obvious pick. Even though the Cavs are so disappointing, it's not because of him. This man has to basically average 30 if they want to win any game. So, yeah. Send this man some help, even though he, on paper, has help, but it's not looking like it at the moment. Jalen Johnson is my next guy. He is incredible, kind of like Scotty. He does a little bit of everything. He doesn't really defend as well, but still, he's a great scoring option. He rebounds like crazy. He play makes like crazy. Very impressive on that end. Basically, a walking triple double. Very talented and was so good that the Hawks traded away Trae Young to start revolving the team around Jalen Johnson. So, shout out to him. Shout out to the other Jalen Duran. There's 4 Jalens in this lineup. Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brown, Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Duran. Jalen Duran has been a phenomenal number two, right beside Cade Cunningham, leading the East over there. He is a great defensive presence, has improved a lot offensively over the years. So I do think he deserves a spot in the All Star game. We got Karl-Anthony Towns in here, number two option for the Knicks, who have been kind of a little bit disappointing, but still, it's Cat. He is an all star. He plays like an all star. Defensively, he sucks, but offensively, he is one of the best in the game. So, you have to be here. Paulo Banchero, again, like slim pickings, not a lot of names I could choose from, but he's still debatably plays like an all star. His numbers and efficiency is down, but I feel like it's good enough to be an all star, and I couldn't really think of other people to add, unless they were on the horrible teams. I guess I could have replaced it with Brandon Ingram, but I don't know. I don't know if that was the right move. We'll see what happens for the actual lineup. And then last name, Norman Powell. I thought he deserved to be an all-star last year. Hopefully he'll finally make it this year. That he have been good, not perfect, but they've been good enough to have some kind of all-star representation. And I wanted to be Norman Powell because, yeah, just because I think he deserves to be an all-star. So those are all the predictions that we made for the all-star reserves. And by it seems like we went about this in a pretty natural way. We just chose who we believe are the best players, for the most part. Like, we didn't really think about positions too much. We also didn't really think about whether they are American or foreign, because it is going to be different this year. There's going to be 3 teams. Each team has 8 players. There's going to be 2 American teams and 1 like foreign player team. So I'm wondering, with our predictions, are we able to make the 8-man roster for the foreign team? I think so.
I have no idea.
They need a minimum
Name.
of 8. So we have SGA as one of them. Luka, Jokic, Wemby, that's 4.
Yep.
Şengün 5. Jamal Murray 6. So we need 2 more.
Yeah.
Giannis 7. Okay.
Yep. And then
This is where it gets tricky.
this is where it depends on which one of our selections we go with. For example, if it's Siakam, yes. If it's Paulo, I think still yes, right? Is he?
I think he reps
I think
Italy.
He's foreign, right? But does he play for their? I don't know. Do they have to be? When they say foreign, do they mean like foreign country or playing for that country?
That's the tricky part. So
Yeah,
like
I
I
don't know if
remember.
they mean like from a foreign country or playing for the international team.
Do you remember last year when they kind of did this, where like the TNT guys chose their teams and somehow Chuck chose all like the foreign players on one team? Do you remember that?
I don't remember too well from it,
I don't
honestly.
blame you, but uh,
Yeah.
he would start with like choosing Shea or whatever, Wemby. I forgot who else, but then like once it was like getting to like the very end, he ended up choosing Donovan Mitchell because I think his parents are from the Bahamas or something. Um,
Mm.
I think he also chose Karl-Anthony Towns because his family's from Dominican Republic.
Dominican. Yeah.
Yeah. So Those are both kind of stretches. I know Cat does rep Dominican Republic. Yeah. Um, Mitchell, like when we talk about FIBA and all that, has repped USA. Paulo has repped USA. I think Norman Powell reps uh, the Bahamas.
I
Uh,
actually didn't know about that one.
I think so. So we were able to get 7 for sure, and
Yeah.
then we need an eighth guy in order to make this work. If it was your lineup, as he said,
Then it
Siakam
works,
would have
yeah.
been perfect.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
if,
then for yours, I guess this is where the criteria part is confusing because like Paulo is from Italy, but we don't know if he counts and if he doesn't play for the team or does he? I don't know.
uh,
He doesn't, right?
I think he got
Was he a
his
part of
like
Team
it.
USA? I
He
don't think
was
so, right?
part of Team USA for FIBA, years
Yeah.
ago when they got like I don't even think they medaled. I don't remember. But
I I don't think they did.
uh, but I think he got his Italian citizenship so he could play for Italy. Um,
Yeah. So maybe he counts as foreign? I don't know.
I don't know. This is tricky. I don't know how the NBA is gonna do it. I know
Yeah.
like I think if they didn't like naturally select one, they will have to like Adam Silver or someone will like pick their own forward player to just throw in there to make that eighth spot. Uh, so it could still be like a Siakam. That might be the best foreign player that you know may or may not be on the list. It could be Laurie Markkinen. You know, he's been having a great
Oh
season.
yeah, that's true.
They could throw him in. If it's Denny though, I'd be so pissed. Oh my god, that's that'd be rough. That'd be rough. So I would rather have like Norman Powell be on the forward list, even though he's like not forward, than have Denny on the list.
Yeah.
Um, honest, but I think, yeah, I think this is the best we could do. Honestly, I don't know what else we could do or say from here. Any other thoughts on like the All Star reserves or even like the new All Star format? Like I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the
Is it
podcast.
the same as last year or
I don't think so. There's 3 teams and it's like a red or round robin system. So they will play each other once, and whoever has the best record wins. I guess.
oh, I feel like they're definitely doing too much, honestly. They should have just kept the traditional East versus West.
Yeah, last year
Or
was too much with like Mr. Beast and Kevin Hart and all of that. That was doing too
I
much.
I did not watch, so I do not know what happened.
I
It
unfortunately
sounds like
did.
it sounds like a snooze fest, honestly, and
Yep.
a waste of time. Like, bro, what happened to back in the day when these players actually tried to win in the All Star game?
Well,
Now they're just like messing around and not even putting up like a watchable product. It's a joke,
yeah,
bro.
that was when like Kobe was there and like would set the
Yeah,
tone. Uh,
yeah. I remember
I
those All
know
Star games
that
back
those were
then.
fun to watch.
Hey, back then, I would actually agree with you that I thought the All Star game was the best part of All Star weekend back in the day.
Uh huh.
Now, absolutely not.
I know Victor Wembanyama has said in interviews that he wants to change that, and you could tell from last year how he played that like he actually did want to try, and he seems like the type of player that wants to be like a like who wants to change the culture and want to improve the game. So hopefully, like if he leads the way, like the other players might follow, but we'll see. There's only so much one man can do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we will indeed see what happens. We can hope for the best. don't know if I have that much high expectations, but we shall see.
Yeah. Speaking of Wemby and the Spurs, we did our second installment of predicting winners from a random game that we chose last week. We we predicted the outcome for Rockets versus Spurs. I've on Tuesday, so on the 21st, so January 21st, Rockets versus Spurs, where the Rockets beat the Spurs. I chose the Spurs because I thought Wemby would carry them to glory, and he ended up having a bad game. So, of course, this happens to me. I keep losing these leagues. It's pissing me off, and I wish this could change. Hopefully, next week will be better. We're actually doing the same uh, matchup, funny enough. We're looking at
It,
next, what was it, Wednesday?
next
No,
Wednesday,
Monday.
yeah. Wednesday, I believe.
Next
It
Wed. Oh yeah,
aligned.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it aligned pretty funny though how the rematch happened like barely a week after and at the same stadium again.
Yeah,
So we shall see.
we're.
Is it gonna be a different result this time, or will it be no different?
I hope it's different because we're running it back. I'm going with the Spurs once again, and you are of course going for.
Oh, I picked the Rockets. And I think this is one of the games where like I'm not necessarily like super confident in because I think it can go either way. And I didn't really I caught like small tidbits of the game on Tuesday. From what I saw when I was tracking the score, I saw the Spurs were up by like 16 in the late in the third, and I thought it was over. I thought we were gonna have a 1-1 tie, and that it was surely gonna be a first time win for Memo in the head to head. And somehow in the fourth quarter, the Spurs just ended up choking. I do not know what happened there. Um, I will say this as an NBA fan and setting aside the bet, I wanted the Spurs to win. So I was mad that the Spurs choked that game, quite frankly, if we're not talking about our bet. But yeah, that was a crazy turn of events late for sure. Um that being said, like is this one of the games that I would be like confident picking a single winner? Not necessarily, because I think it can go either way. But ultimately, I just went with the Rockets just because playing at home again, I think that might potentially be the fueling factor here. Though I do think that the Rockets are still quite an inconsistent team, and I still don't necessarily trust them to like keep on winning, but we shall see. Ultimately, I just went with my gut, honestly.
Yeah, so we'll see. I am hoping for a win because the month is coming to an end kind of soon. So I need to win for sure this game and the next game so we could tie, at least, and we'll do a tiebreak to see who loses, who has the worst record in the month of January, and whoever does have the worst record has to do a punishment, which we haven't confirmed. We've talked about some of our ideas, so we have something in mind. But I know you had an idea you wanted to share, right?
I was low key thinking about something. This one is not even that crazy. I just feel like it could be a little bit funny. So, I remember last week when you were talking about like how we thought about doing something wintry, and obviously we were saying that like the weather is kind of like an unpredictable factor. But I remember at the end when you were mentioning how you were you were in the t-shirt because it was just too hot for you that day. Now I know that the weather is like very shifty nowadays. I was low key thinking, since it seems like I'm the one that's usually be wearing a jacket, and you're the one that, except for today, usually be wearing less. What if the loser has to change their role for that night? Which is honestly not even that crazy, but I think that might low key be kind of funny. Like for example, if I lose, I have to go full episode with no jacket on, and for you, you have to wear an extra thick jacket.
I think you got something there. I feel like it'd be funny if like the loser has to record in like like snow winter gear, like their biggest, puffiest jacket, a beanie on. If you have a scarf, wear the scarf, mittens, just like the whole outfit for an entire episode. I think that would be funny.
Yeah, that can work. Now I will say, like, if it is a freezing day that day and that happens, then it wouldn't be as crazy. If it's like I mean, it's not gonna be hot because it's not summer. Though I will say, like, if it was, that would make it more funny for comedy's sake. But honestly, like the winter fit thing that you suggested sounds like it could be potentially something we could roll with, maybe.
Yeah, I do like that idea. Like my biggest, like puffiest, like jacket, if I wear it, I will start sweating. Like it's that warm. So regardless of the weather, I will start sweating if I wear that.
Yeah.
I'll,
Or
I'll
what if we said that staying on this topic, the loser not only has to do a thickest jacket, but they also have to layer up like multiple layers.
yeah, like
Like
straight up
like
treat it
two
like you're going
jackets.
to the snow.
Yeah.
Like
Like pretend that you are in the East Coast and not in the West Coast.
yeah,
Be
I
like,
feel like this is a good
"Brr."
idea.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a funny visual as well. Just seeing
It'll be
one
a funny visual.
one guy just in regular clothes and the other guy in like the biggest, like puffiest,
Yeah.
warmest
Yeah. I
outfit
think that I think that
in
would be
their
funny.
room.
Should we roll with that idea, honestly?
Let's roll with that one. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah. I think that'd be good. Something that is like not too insane, but still funny for the sake of comedy.
Yeah.
For sure. All right then. I guess we got our wager set now. Um, and so we shall see how the odds go
Yeah,
moving forward.
we'll see. But I guess we'll find that out next week. But yeah, or in 2 weeks. Um, but yeah, that's it from us. That's the end of the episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did and you're on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That would be great. If you are on an audio platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review. Make sure you check out our socials. Hoops, do you have anything you want to say before we head out?
Per usual, just want to say thanks to the viewers for the constant support to our channel. We greatly appreciate it. If you like our content, follow us on all platforms. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And yeah, you do not want to miss out on our content because we will continue to do our NBA rap weekly episodes. And as similar to this one, there will be a good amount of special edition episodes as well when the topics may come in handy. And alongside, of course, we mentioned the wagers, which you do not want to miss as well, because you know those will be fun to see. Anyways, appreciate you guys as always once again. Until next time, have a great day, night, and week.
We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.